Should have stayed. Were there signs I ignored? Can I help you not to hurt anymore?
We saw brilliance when the world was asleep. There are things that we can have but can't keep if they say.
Who cares if one more light goes out in this sky of a million stars?
Flickers, flickers.
Who cares when someone's time runs out if a moment is all we are?
Quicker, quicker.
Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. Reminders pull the floor from your feet. In the kitchen, one more chair than you need. Oh, and you're angry, and you should be. It's not fair. Just 'cause you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in this sky of a million stars? Who cares when someone's time runs out if a moment is all we are? Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. Who cares if one more light goes out in this sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out if a moment is all we are? Or quicker, quicker. Who cares when someone light goes out? Well, I do. Well, I do.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Haven Wilvich, founder and executive director of the Seattle Trans and Non-Binary Choral Ensemble, better known as STANCE. Thank you to our soloists for that last song, Hannah, Liv, and Danny, and Sam on the guitar. So thank you for joining us this afternoon and tonight. The song you just heard is called One More Light. It's by the alt-rock band Linkin Park. And it was the last single that their lead singer, Chester Bennington, performed before he took his own life. It's a song about needing people to know that we care if they're part of our world, that you're not alone. Linkin Park is a band that was near and dear to my heart. Their album, Living Things, was instrumental in helping me process one of the most difficult times in my life. I was struggling to survive an abusive relationship where I wasn't allowed to come out as queer and trans, but through their music, I was able to find the strength to leave that marriage. As I came out of that period, I began to realize how important singing was to me, and yet, at the same time, how difficult it was to find space to sing as a feminine bass. I began to dream of a place where trans and non-binary people could sing free of those gendered norms. And now that dream has become a reality, thanks to many of you here in the audience today. So thank you for giving me the gift of this community. I'm going to hand it over. I'm going to hand it over now to our MC for the evening, Fox Hampton.
Hello, my name is Fox. Oops, sorry, I'm playing between the mics. My name is Fox. I use he and they pronouns. I am from the occupied land known as Seattle, and I have been organizing for most of my adult life. I am now one of the co-directors at Alphabet Alliance of Color, known as AEOC, which is a really small nonprofit that serves queer and trans, Black, Indigenous, people of color, known as Cutie BIPOC, in the Puget Sound region by creating networks of care and support. And I'm really excited to be your MC tonight. Before we jump into the program that you are all very excited to be here for, I just wanted to take some time to ground us into our space. First, I'm going to read a land and labor acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that we are gathered together on the land of the first peoples of Seattle, the Duwamish, the Muckleshoot, and the Stillaguamish tribes, past and present. We strive to honor with gratitude the land itself and the stewardship of these indigenous tribes. We also respectfully acknowledge the enslaved people, primarily of African descent, whose exploited labor on which this country is built with little to no recognition. Today, we are indebted to their labor and the labor of many Black and brown people that continue to work in the shadows for our collective benefit. Now I want to talk a little bit about Trans Day of Remembrance, known as TDOR. It was started in 1999 by a person named Gwendolyn Ann Smith, who was hosting a vigil for a Black trans woman who passed in 1998. It has thus sprung into an annual remembrance of those we've lost and celebrate those of us still with us today. It is incredibly important that as trans people, we do not define ourselves simply by our pain and suffering, but also without forgetting those who have sacrificed for us to be here today. Given the nature of TDOR, we did want to offer a content warning. In this program, there are going to be mentions of abuse, suicide, and murder, and we really encourage you all to take care of yourself. There is space in the lobby and downstairs if you need to take a breather. There are also all-gender restrooms and a water fountain downstairs. And we encourage you, as I said, to do what you need. This is supposed to be about all of us, and we can't do that if we're not taking care of our bodies. With that, I did want to thank our partners and sponsors, Traction, King County for Culture, and the Queer Power Alliance. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to our directors, Kaylee and Mikey, who will both they will both be conducting and playing piano tonight, so get prepared for that. And without further ado, I will introduce our first storyteller, Yoshi Das.
Hey. I've been in choirs since I was little and very recently discovered I'm a trans man. So when someone first told me about Stance back in the summer, I thought, cool, a queer choir. That sounds fun. After my audition in August, I was so happy, I walked out of the building marginally composed, then proceeded to squeal and twirl down the sidewalk. The following week, during our first rehearsal, one of the icebreakers was, Who here identifies as neurodivergent? To my surprise, nearly everyone raised their hands, and I thought, wait, a queer and neurodivergent choir? Immediately after the rehearsal, I called one of my best friends and literally shouted, "My people!" I was so excited. I knew I'd found my crowd. Still, in that moment, I didn't think much beyond having fun with like-minded people. Funny how the lifesavers come so unexpectedly. I came into Stance barely starting to heal from a lifetime's worth of trauma and self-hatred. Little did I know this choir was about to change my entire point of view. My first time performing with Stance in September, I was so empowered by the singers around me that I took my first step toward transitioning that same day. After that, I started to dip my toes in the Stance social waters, and the result was far more positive than I ever expected. Stance has taught me that I'm not always too much or not enough, that sometimes my creative, awkward, emotional, and bubbly self is just right. Because of Stance, for a couple hours a week, I don't have to wonder whether my existence is good enough. For the first time in my life, I have a community in which I know I belong. Joining our choir has allowed me a safe space to explore emotional vulnerability, gender-based desires, and neurodivergent authenticity. All that to say, being a part of Stance for the last 3.5 months has helped me stitch myself back together.
Thank you, Yoshi, for the really sweet story, and thank you to the choir for the amazing rendition of Holding the Light by B.E. Boykin with lyrics by Stuart Kestenbaum. Next, I want to introduce our poet of the evening, Subhaga Crystal Bacon, who will be reading their poem, Why I'm Writing.
Why I'm writing about the murders of trans and gender nonconforming people in the year of COVID. Once I started, I couldn't stop. Every day, I lifted the bandage to see the latest wound, infection spreading to rot. I was asked to write a poem about social justice, Black Lives Matter, gun violence. A queer person who survived elderhood, I wrote about this intersection of fears, an epidemic beyond even the epidemic of the year. Suspended in time, sunlit window, feet on the red rug of my room, a new day Googling trans murders. I was whole before and a whole after. So fast in July, Marilyn, Dior, Keisha, Aja, then the long break, 2-week vacation. I kept my vigil, even prayed daily, let it be over, please, no more. Then came Key, August 13th, and 2 weeks later, Leah, the end of the month. And Ellie Che, drowned off Jones Beach, maybe an accident, like Isabella after Labor Day, who fell or was pushed from a roof. No proof in either case of a crime. Fall brought the death of Ariane Burnett, shot in Independence. Mia by her boyfriend in Philadelphia. Micheline, the sixth to die in Puerto Rico, but not the last. By October, it was clear that the year would surpass the one before and the one before that. Brooke, the 32nd, 20 years old, the 21st Black trans person murdered so far. So far, so far, we seem to come celebrating National Coming Out Day that claimed Sarah in Indianapolis. 2 weeks later, Angel in Memphis. Every day I checked for news, hung in hope for an end of violence, of death. Every day I held my breath until I knew who'd been slain by stranger or lover as autumn uncovered the bony limbs of trees. November 4th, Skylar Heath mourned as he. On the 17th, Unieski in Miami. Day of Trans Remembrance, November 20th, Che Misha chased down by a man with a gun, and Asia who said she was going on a date. Even chronicling this, the daily plunge to heartache exhausts me. I wish I didn't have this need to record what came before what follows here. One by one, each name, each life. Kimberly, the oldest at 55. Jaheim for her pantsuit. Courtney on Christmas. And Alexandria, the last of the year, Boxing Day. Year ends and year begins. On Epiphany, Tiana, then Samuel, Bianca, Dominique, 50 bands, Alexis, China, JJ and Jasmine, Jenna, Diamond, Rihanna, Jada, Dominique, Remy, Tiara, Natalia, Iris, Tiffany, Kerry, Jahira, Whispering Wind, Sophie, Danica, Serenity, Ollie, only 17, Thomas, Poe, EJ, Adolin, Taya, Shay, Tierra Marie, Miss Coco, and Pooh. Names taken to reflect new lives. It's September 4th, 2021. That's the count to August 23rd. 35 trans lives taken in 8 months. 35, the average life expectancy, midlife, all the sweetness denied, to grow wise, find love, make home. I need to name this the brutality of tallying the dead, horror in equal measure that they can and must be counted. Over halfway through a new year, new era, some might say, the list of names rolls out, rolls on. I'm here, not just counting, but incanting.
Thank you, Subhaga, for the astounding poem. Next to the stage, I would like to welcome our very own Fluffy.
I hate my voice. I'll be buying something at a store and the cashier calls me ma'am, and then as soon as I say something in response, there comes the litany of, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. I mean, sir. No, you had it right the first time." And then it just gets awkward. I hate my voice. Popular music is categorized as male vocals or female vocals. Choral music has the men's sections and the women's sections. There are special gender-implied terms for people who sing in the opposite section: contralto, countertenor, castrato. I have a fairly wide vocal range and gravitate toward alto parts, but in an ensemble, I stick out like a squeaky sore thumb, and I always go back into my masculine little tenor box, never having the room to grow and experiment to find what's comfortable. I hate my voice. But then I joined Stance, a choir literally made for people like me, people who never really fit into the expectations they were assigned at birth, who are now able to shine and experiment and learn and grow, where trans voices come together to sing for the joy of it together as one, where people of all genders and lack thereof make their home in every section. Here, a tenor can be femme. We have this amazing space where we can all come together and share our joys and sorrows, our wins and rants, and support each other. We navigate our identities and our transitions, help each other to find the words for our shared pain, and to find comfort and solace, a path forward in the face of frustration and barriers. We have a space where we can experiment and improvise and grow, and where we can all simply be. Stance has helped me to not feel so alone in this world and has given me so many opportunities where I can grow and change and thrive. I learned to do better while also having the support of this wonderful queer community, this collection of misfits and weirdos all coming together in our shared joy. My voice belongs here. I still hate my voice, but at least here it isn't so bad when we all sing together.
Thank you, Fluffy, for the vulnerable story I know many of us can relate to. And thank you to the choir for the lovely rendition of Earth Song by Frank Ticelli. I'm happy to welcome back to the stage Subhaga reading her poem, Shaki Peters.
Shaki Peters, 32, Matinee City, Louisiana, July 1st. She was full of laughter and an abundance of life. Shaki, there's a plant that grows here where I live called shadbush. It's also known as serviceberry, but it's the genus I thought of yesterday, seeking shade on the hillside, carrying you with me in the heat of day. How it gives shade, gives fruit, dark purple, seeded and nourishing. Your face, Shaki, in the one photo I can find, is round and open, dark and sweet. Your eyes seem to tip up a bit at the outer corners. Your lips are full, plush as pillows. I keep waiting for some story to explain your murder. I don't know how much that matters in the long run, but it might fill the gap around your death. I keep thinking about the name Matinee City from the French for friendship. Like my hometown, Philadelphia, city of brotherly love, likewise, no friend to trans women. I spent a month in Louisiana in 1984. It was hot and humid, and I loved the way sweat soaked me, sticking clothes to skin. I used to move from shade to shade, the shadows of buildings, banana trees, and one very large fig tree in the yard of the house I rented, hand-shaped leaves the size of fans. In 1984, Shaki, you weren't even born yet. It was a heyday for being queer if you don't count AIDS. We were all trying on gender like a wig or a dress or suit and tie. I used to go to a drag bar in Philly where I had a crush on a Zoftig redhead I now know to have been trans. She was very kind to me, taking my face in her soft hands, fragrant and styled, like the mother of a childhood friend I had to share a bed with one weekend. I clung all night to the far edge in fear that I would accidentally touch her. There was a ripeness in her, sweet, nourishing, a kind of femme that makes my heart ache, that I've never known or been. There are many kinds of shadow, Shaki, many kinds of shade. I think of you now, inhabiting that, luscious, lush, safe.
Thank you, Subhaga, for another amazing poem. I'm excited to welcome to the stage the artistic director, Kaylee.
Hi, I am Kaylee Bolmy, the artistic director of Stance, she, her pronouns. You've heard many stories, you've heard a few stories, and you'll hear some more after the break, and this is mine. I used to have very lofty dreams, like pie in the sky, fame and fortune type of dreams. And while it would still be a lot of fun to achieve those dreams, my dreams of late have sort of tempered into something more reasonable sounding, which at the moment still seems unattainable. I am 32 years old, and I have a wife and a dog, and I would love to be able to raise a family in a house. And I would love for my kids to know their grandparents who are in their 70s. And I'm working up to six jobs at any given point. And I feel like we're out here changing lives. And you've heard some testimony to that extent. Every person up here has a story, something like all of these stories. And if organizations like this were fully and properly funded, then people like me in lower value professions like music would be able to be out here pursuing big dreams and be able to get on with the lives that we want to be able to live. I want to be able to put more compassion in the world. I want the resources to be able to change more people's lives, because there are people who are desperate for an organization like Stance to give them anything approaching hope in this bleak, miserable world, and will never get such a thing because of the geographical circumstances of their brief existence. And I feel like I haven't come close to reaching my full potential, but I realize, very privileged in that I get to be out here working these jobs, making enough money to live in King County to support the family that I do support. But, you know, being out here, being trans, being a leader in this community, I mean, I get to enjoy the ever-increasing percent chance that I'll be horribly murdered by some bigot someday. And that risk is worth it to me. It's always been worth it to me. But the point is that everybody involved in this organization has one thing in common, and it's something that makes us way less likely to succeed in this society that's not built for us. So ultimately, like, the point is that, you know, I hope that at some point the right person hears this message. Somebody with a lot of money, capital L. Or someone in a position of influence in a corporation that has a lot of money. We're in the market for corporate sponsorships. So yeah, it's like, I say all of this, and I still say, is this too much to ask for? And I don't think it is, because ultimately, I just want to make us better. Thank you. So now we're going to do a little bit of musical theater to close out the first act of our program. And I'm going to be doing a very musical theater-y thing and piano conducting this. So yeah, thank you again for being here, and enjoy this closing sequence from the musical Hair.
We stop, look at one another, short of breath, walking proudly in our winter coats, wearing smells from laboratories, facing a dying nation of moving paper fantasy, listening for the new toll lies of supreme visions, a lonely tune.
Somewhere inside something there is a rush of greatness. Who knows what stands in front of our lives? I fashion my future on films in space. Silence tells me secretly everything, everything.
Manchester, England, England. Manchester, England, England. Across the Atlantic Sea. And I'm a genius, genius. I believe in God. I believe that God believes in God. That's me. That's me. That's me.
We stop, look at one another, short of breath, walking proudly in our winter coats, wearing smiles from laboratories, facing a dying nation with moving paper fantasies. Listen to the new told lies with supreme visions of lonely tunes.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, Kaylee, for your powerful story about stands. And thank you to the choir for a very hearty rendition of the very long song known as The Flesh Failures, Eyes Look Your Last, Let the Sun Shine In, from the musical Hair, written by Gerald McDermott with lyrics by James Rotto and Jerome Ragney. And a really big shout out to our soloists, Ada, Fluffy, Rosemary, Mitchie, Tesseract, Adalie, Alyssa, and Yoshi. As you can tell, the choir is funneling off, so that means we are at our 10-minute intermission. There are pictures in the lobby of folks we have lost. Please grab a candle. As a reminder, there are all gender restrooms downstairs along with a water fountain. And if you would like to support Sapaga and her poetry, she is selling chapbooks in the lobby as well. We will see y'all in 10 minutes. Welcome back. I hope you had a good intermission. I hope you were able to grab a candle and check out the images of folks we have out there. We are now going to move to the part of our program called Reading the Names. This is a portion where we'll be honoring the folks that we've lost this year. I invite you all to turn on your candle if it is not already. There's a little black switch at the bottom. There will be a slideshow on this TV of the pictures of the folks, and certain members of the choir are going to read their names. Y'all can come on up.
Thank you, Fox. Before I start, I just want to note that these are only the people in the United States that we know of. Miles Fitzpatrick, age 17, New Jersey. Emma Borhanian, 31, California. Adalyn Anderson, 24, Oklahoma. Daniel Davis Aston, 28, Colorado. Kelly Loving, 40, Colorado. Diamond Jackson McDonald, 27, Pennsylvania. Day Rodas, 27, California. Morgan D., 32, Indiana.
Sorry, folks, we have a little bit of a, we're trying to find the next reader so that we can keep things in slideshow order.
Destiny Howard, 23, Georgia. Marquis M.J. Jackson, 33, Pennsylvania. Henry Burr Brousseau, 24, Kentucky. Kaylee Lovelight, 27, Arizona. Levi Martin, 17, Massachusetts. Gwen Gatewood, 22, Michigan. Jasmine Starr Mack, 36, Washington, D.C. Casey Johnson, 27, North Carolina.
Manuel Tortuguita Terán, 26, Georgia. Olivia Snow, age 47, from New York. Maria Jose Rivera, from Texas. Unique Banks, age 20, from Illinois. Ivory Nicole Smith, 27, from California. Imani Tuitaho Zache, 26, from Kentucky. Cache Henderson, 31, from Wisconsin. Caitlin Eowyn Earhart, 19, from Missouri. Kaylee Scott, 25, from Colorado. Sia Woodland, 18, from Maryland. Ashley Burton, 37 years old, from Georgia. Mo Moore, 18 years old, from Kentucky.
Rashida Williams, age 35, Georgia. Acacia Riley, Washington. Stephanie Petty, age 19, Wyoming. Benko Paso Brown, age 24, California. Lakendra Andrews, age 26, Texas. Om Gandhi, age 16, Utah. Nova Dunn, age 14, New Hampshire. Cam Chamberlain, Texas. Mia Elena Lorene Knight, age 20, California. Aisha Davis, age 34, Michigan. Chanel Uvita Perez Ortiz, age 29, Puerto Rico. Jacob Williamson, age 18, South Carolina.
Michelle Dion Peacock, 59, of Indiana. Colin Smith, 32, of Oregon. Fernielle Mary Mora, 26, New York. Elena Esther Adem, of Texas. Camden Ryder, 21, of Florida. McCall Ray, Virginia. Devani Jeray Johnson, 28, of California. Dolly Goins, 27, of Oregon.
Luis Angel Diaz Castro, 22, Puerto Rico. Lovely Page, 54, Illinois. Tom Tom Robertson, 28, Indiana. Catherine Wheeler, 35, Ohio. Tree Crane, about 18, Utah. Breasia Banks, Arizona. Cody Lawrence, 25, West Virginia.
Alexa Andreevna Sakova, 34, Florida. Charm Wilson, 32, Ohio. Yoko, 30, Louisiana. Thea Cassidy, 18, Pennsylvania. Sherilyn Marjorie, 35, New Mexico. Aaron Ezra Young, 24, Iowa. Alan O'Donnell, 20, New York.
Ronnie Baker, Oregon. China Long, 30, Wisconsin. Dominic Dupree Pallas, 25, Illinois. Anae Roberson, 30, Washington, D.C. Lisa Love Turman, 35, Illinois. London Price, 26, Florida. Alice Olin, 17, Washington State. Kai Cooper, 46, Washington State.
Alexandra Olmo, age 43, Illinois. D. Rutson, age 16, Utah. Skylar Harrison Reeves, age 30, Washington, D.C. River Page Olmsted, 17, Pennsylvania. Naomi McNew, Indiana.
Thank you to all of the choir members who read names. We do that to honor the people we lost, to remember that they are people. They had lives and dreams. They wanted to love and to laugh. They wanted to grow old, to marry, to not marry. They wanted to live a life just as we are all living our lives. And it is important to remember their names, to say their names, to speak power to their names. I say all the time, I am working myself out of a job. I am working so that the next time we have Trans Day of Remembrance, it's to remember those who died of a natural cause, that lived to an old age, and we are celebrating the lives they lived, not that were taken from them. And I encourage all of you to use whatever access to power you have to show up for those that don't have that same access. Whatever it is, I encourage you to do that. And if you are experiencing suicidal or self-harm thoughts, please reach out to someone. You can call the Trans Lifeline. Their number is 877-565-8860. Again, the Trans Lifeline number is 877-565-8860. This is a confidential helpline to help you talk about any hard feelings. And with that, I would like to welcome back to the stage Sabhaga, reading her poem, Summer Taylor.
Summer Taylor, 24, Seattle, Washington, July 4th. They were always the first one to call people out for being sexist, racist, standing up for queer and trans people. They were the one that was so vocal. Dancing the Cupid Shuffle, wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, protective gloves, a mask around their chin, Summer Taylor, activist, sibling, child, animal lover, killed by a car driven the wrong way up a closed ramp into a crowd. Summer, white, non-binary Seattleite, had all the privilege of race, love, family, support, college, meaningful work, and strength of conviction fed on these nutrients. They stopped to dance on their way to City Hall at 5:30 in the morning, another night-long protest, the Black Femme March, festive, a celebration, the interstate closed, a space created for them to stand together. The day before, Diaz Love, injured in the crash, posted on Facebook, "The death threats from hate groups is real this weekend." Love, recovering in pain, the threats keep coming, writes, "If they thought this murder would make us back down, they are wrong." Summer, the last death in the first half of 2020, stands in stark relief for what they stood for. Black trans femme sisters, trans brothers, femme dykes and gay boys, white, black, brown, the rainbow of gender, no car can mow down.
Thank you, Sabhaga, for honoring one of our local communities lost to white supremacist violence. Next to the stage is the contest ensemble, who will be singing My Heart Be Brave by Marquez Garrett with lyrics by James Walden Johnson. They will continue to file on stage and sing when they are ready.
Thank you. So this is contests, and contests is a sort of smaller subsection of the choir who, since we are an all skill levels choir, we have these fine folks who are willing and able to learn a little bit more music for us, which is great. And this concert in particular, they did a lot of this music just kind of on their own outside of regular rehearsal time without me. So very impressed by that. Wonderful job with that, you all. So that was My Heart Be Brave by Marcus Garrett, who is an extraordinary individual. And not just because his compositions are brilliant, which they are, but also because he has provided us as choir directors, as lovers of choral music, with an invaluable resource in the database of non-idiomatic music by Black composers. He is keeping, not only preserving so much important music, but he's reinvigorating interest in it, and it's really wonderful. And I have just myself found so much, such a wealth of just great literature in that. So just wanted to call him out as someone who's particularly special to the choral world. This next piece, we originally intended to debut at our very first performance 1 year ago, 2 days from now, for Utopia's Trans Day of Remembrance event. German is hard, and we ran out of time. So we had time now. For this piece, I would like to invite up to the podium Mikey Prince.
Thank you again for joining us for this important holiday and the end of our first season. I know that Trans Day of Remembrance is a difficult day for many of us to process, to be present for, to listen to. I hope that through our music, you were able to move through the grief that we all feel into action and into a hope for a better future. Stance was founded last year with the vision of building an inclusive and accessible community where our changing voices are authentically embraced. We believe that through music, we can find embodiment and connect to our full selves, physical and emotional. But building a community like this takes a village. So many people have come together to make this event possible, and I want to thank all of our singers, board members, partners, and donors, especially Traction, who have been instrumental in planning this event.
Thank you to Kaylee and Mikey and Haven. German is hard. I have several friends who speak it. So that is amazing that you all can sing in German. I can't even sing in English. As Haven mentioned, STANCE is a very small grassroots organization, and as someone who also works for a very small grassroots organization, I know how crucial individual donors are. We cannot do this work without y'all and without your money. So there is a QR code in your program, thank you, that you can scan, or if you're more old school, you can go to stanceseattle.org/donate. Again, that is stanceseattle.org/donate. And any amount, 5, 10, 20, $1,000, it's all gonna go to a great cause and to continue to create a space so many people have spoken about needing and wanting and finding validation in. And while y'all scan and get your donation ready, I'm going to invite to the stage to read her second to last poem, Marilyn Caceres. That's what the poem's called. This is Sapaga.
Marilyn Cazares, 22, Brawley, California, July 16th. She was strong, and she would look anybody in the eye and say, "I'm very proud of who I am." Marilyn, it's hard to keep up with the pace of hate this year. This summer, it seems to flower like a noxious weed, sending spores to couch themselves into what should be the beauty of your freedom to be yourself, brave, your proud Aunt Larissa's proud niece. It's rare for family to use the word niece for those who are transgender, as if they hate recognizing their changed, their brave children. Is it so hard to let them flower, to allow them to find their own beauty? All that imposed invisibility is couched in misgendering and dead-naming. Your couch was set ablaze, Marilyn, Aunt Larissa's niece, by someone who had to kill your beauty to cover his own self-hate. Did he see in you the seed and flower of a life he did not feel the bravery to love? To love what is, we must brave life or risk watching it go by from the couch, separated by walls and doors from the flowering. We must be willing to witness living. My own niece has also been hurt at the hands of one who hates her self-sufficiency, her fierce beauty. Our family nickname for her is Beauty Heart. It's a way of saying, let my love make you brave, protect you from the world's random acts of hate. Marilyn, I'm telling you this only as a way to couch the heartache of your aunt proclaiming you as niece. She told the world about your painful flowering from a boyhood of taunts and hurt. You were a flower amidst the heavy feet of those who fear unfamiliar beauty, one born a boy who grows up to be a niece. The transition is the thing that made you, Marilyn, brave. Your murder and the burning of your body on a couch did not extinguish your beauty with the flames of hate. Your people came to leave flowers for your bravery, Marilyn. Your beauty lives beyond the burnt couch. No one can kill your Aunt Larissa's niece with hate.
Thank you, Sopaga. I welcome to the stage our next storyteller, Victor Westbrook.
Thank you. My name is Victor, and at age 62, I'm one of the oldest, if not the oldest, member of this choir. But I'm also very new to this transition journey because it didn't dawn on me until one day when I was 60 years old that I could make my outside match my inside. So growing up in the 60s, there wasn't a whole lot of options, so I just did what I needed to do to try to make myself happy, and because I was cosplaying this role that had been forced on me. My very favorite place to be was at the creek. At the creek, I could be me. Nature doesn't care. Nature made us this way. So I was free to be exactly who I was, only to go home, and because inevitably I'd fall in and my shoes would get wet and I would get found out, and I would literally get beaten for going to the creek, because in my family, little girls did not do that. And regardless of the beatings, I couldn't stay away. I had to go because that's where I knew I could find my center. Well, time moves on, and life happens. Puberty hit. It was like, ooh, this body's not so bad. Got married, had kids, would not have traded that experience for anything. Had the career in a male-dominated field. I thought I was one of the guys, but I was never treated or paid like one. And still, something wasn't quite right. I'd get shocked every time I looked in the mirror. Until one night, a year and a half ago, when I looked in the mirror and realized society and medicine have caught up, and I can make the outside match the inside. Then I found Stance. Oh my God, you've heard stories tonight from everybody. We didn't collaborate on our stories, by the way, but this choir offers so much more than just a place to gather and sing. It's life-saving, truly. And I want to give props to the people who work tirelessly to create the space for us to show up in, and to us for being courageous enough to show up, because it's still not safe. And yet, when we show up here, it's just like the creek. We can be ourselves. There's no justifying who we are. There's no explaining who we are. We just show up, and it's glorious. So if you don't take anything else from this little story, please know it's never too late. There is a voice inside of you that knows who you are. Some days you will find it, some days it's hard to see. There's twists and there's turns and there's lessons to learn at the creek.
Thank you, Victor, for your story. We are so honored to have a trans elder with us. And thank you to the choir for that very fitting song, The Little Creek by Matt Carlson. And I am excited to welcome back to the stage for another powerful poem, Subhaga, reading Yungski Carey Herrera.
Miami, Florida, November 17th. The freeze has returned. Sunrise flares over the near hills, turning the view pink and blue, the colors of the trans flag. Another trans woman has been killed. Winter approaching, even in Miami, where her man, who got his name tattooed on his hip, jealous and tweaked out on meth, stabbed her with a knife and fork at 4 o'clock in the morning, a time we should all be sleeping, for a short while safe in our own bodies and dreams. Snow turns blood red as day comes on here far north of her death. A beauty queen, salsa dancer, she told him she'd found a better man. Through his tears, he told them this. In the picture, he's built like an exclamation point, all upper body bulk, like a wedge against her sibilant curves, a knife and fork, tools to devour what sustains us.
Thank you, Subhaga. Next, we have Wing Mu reading one of their stories. Her stories, excuse me.
I've wanted to die for a little over 22 years and 3 months. I keep track. That voice got louder and louder over the last 22 years, and it took a lot of figuring stuff out, but eventually I saw the patterns, that it wasn't just random. It grew louder whenever I looked in the mirror, whenever I put on clothing, whenever I put on yet another layer of glamour in front of other people. With the help of friends, therapists, so many therapists, doctors, and 50% off sales, 50% off sales on dresses. This one was 60% off. It got better. The voices simmered down. But there's one thing that I couldn't escape, and it came back whenever I heard my own voice. I've hated my voice ever since I sung in harmony for the first time. 16 years and 329 days ago. I also keep track of that. But then, almost a year ago, I sung this next song that we're doing in my first rehearsal with Stance. My voice genuinely belonged for the first time. I still struggle with my voice and my body every day, but the struggle is a little easier with friends, and sometimes I can even see a future for me and all of us.
Thank you to the choir for that beautiful rendition of All of Us from Considering Matthew Shepard by Craig Hella Johnson with lyrics by Michael Dennis Brown and Craig Hella Johnson. Thank you to the amazing trio, Basil, Taylor, and Emma. Y'all held it down. And I welcome to the stage for the final time tonight to read their poem, I Have a Room for You in Me, a Litany, Sapaga.
I have room for you in me, a litany. For the handsome trans woman and cisgender wife, for the suit and tie and heels, for the skirt and corset and beard, I have room. No one can say a life is not right. I have room for you and me. For the one whose father loved her like a son until she became one, I have room for you and me. For those who claim their own names, break free from the limited born-as cocoon. For the one with the wide-hipped sachet, big hands smoothing her dress, I have room for you and me. For him whose voice rings high, whose chest bears scars under hair and ink, I have room. For the one who wears their self-made clothes and hand-painted shoes, not trying to pass, I have room for you and me. For the pregnant man and woman father, I have room for you and me. For the sex worker's food and rent, for the elderly boy's sparse whiskers and soft eyes, for the statuesque matron, the broad-beamed man, for your lives and your loves and your rights, I have room. I have room for you in me.
Thank you so much, Sapaga. Thank you for a night of truly amazing poetry and for using your art to honor those that we have lost and to make room in your heart for those that are still with us. As a reminder, you can buy her chapbook in the lobby at the end of this program. And I introduce our final storyteller of the night, Leo Snipes.
Hey guys. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't even have words. This, has been a very somber program, but tonight I feel as if I am the luckiest person in the entire world. Here I am, surrounded by my beautiful peers, all of these beautiful souls, and I'm here today with my partner, Ashley, and all of our friends. And when Ash and I met, we were living in the American Deep South, which is, as you know, not a great place to be. We were surrounded by transphobia, fear, mistrust. I didn't know if either of us would make it out alive. I know a lot of people who didn't. But with the strength and the will to love, to live, to be, not only are we surviving here, but we're thriving. It's possible. We are loving, living, being alongside one another. Hand in hand, lifting each other up. There is nothing that you, all of you, and I can't do. When I am surrounded by all of you, I feel a steady and unwavering light inside of me. It shows me where I am, where I'm supposed to be. It's warm. I dedicate this speech tonight to my partner for life, Ashley. We're getting engaged in December. And for the ones that we sing for tonight, in remembrance, let us love, live, and be. Thank you.
thank you. What a powerful song to end on. That was The Steady Light by Reginald Unchentier with lyrics by Shayla Dunlap. As you might have guessed, this is the end of our program. I want to give a big thank you to Haven, Kaylee. I want to give a big thank you to Kaylee and Mikey. I want to give a big thank you to our interpreters. I want to give a big thank you to Subhaga. And I also want to thank our sponsors and donors again, Traction, King County for Culture, the Queer Power Alliance. I also wanted to thank the Rainier Beach Presbyterian Church in which we are in today and could not do without them. And finally, I want to give the biggest shout out to the choir. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. Thank you for wearing your mask. You can return your candles in the bin as you leave. Please get home safe and help each other get home safe. Have a good night.